So let's get into it right away and talk about the fourth stimulus check focus on the fixed income and low income. Alright, so if you have been watching the channel for any length of the time now, for the last month or so, I've been talking about this new massive push for the fourth stimulus check for the American people who are struggling so badly right now as the result of everything going on, including rising the prices due to this incredible inflation that we haven't seen literally in decades. Whereas as the result of that, there's also this renewed push for a focused stimulus check on low-income and fixed-income beneficiaries, including the list that I mentioned at the beginning of the video: Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB. So I want to go through some news information here that I want to share with you and help clarify this a little bit more. So in just a minute here, and I'm going to read an article to you so you can hear it exactly where I'm finding it from and see exactly what is being said. Let's quickly run through some of the key takeaways out of this article. We can let you go after that, but again, we can talk through these key takeaways because it's actually really important here to understand what is actually being said and what is actually going on out there right now. Because like I said, there are things changing literally every single day when it comes to stimulus package, stimulus announcement out of the Congress. I mean, it is like busy out there with everything going on. So let me quick run through the key takeaways out of this article. So first up, basically what they talk about is this new massive push for an additional stimulus check. Then I wrote it down to three main reasons why additional stimulus check could be so incredibly helpful right now. So number one, they quickly talk about unemployment. So they talk about millions of individuals who should have been receiving unemployment benefits, but unfortunately didn't get unemployment benefits for a variety of different reasons. We know that was situation, and there is a lot of people that are struggling out there right now who maybe were furloughed or let go or for a variety of reasons were out of work and they never got unemployment benefits, when realistically they should have been receiving them. That is number one on the list. Number two, they specifically talk about the Social Security beneficiaries and why it's so important for them to get the fourth stimulus check. So be sure to pay attention to number two. This is a very important one. And of course, they talk specifically about Social Security and number two right here in this article. And now, number three, they do talk about some of the state. The state has been stepping up and sending out a stimulus check to some of the residents. Now, the problem with it is it does not reach everybody, and typically, these state-funded programs are much smaller. As you know, a lot of states are sending out maybe 250, maybe 200, maybe $375, maybe 500 or 600 in some instances, but it's certainly not 1,400 stimulus check, and it's not $1,200. It's like I said, maybe in some instances like California, it's like a 600 check, but for the most part, it's usually just a couple hundred. Well, let's to be honest with ourselves, and a couple $100 in the form of the one-time check. It's certainly nice, of course. We are not going to deny it. We are taking, we are gladly taking, right? But is it not going to be life-changing, and is it certainly not going to help for all that long? It may help for a day or two, but that's about it. Is it not going to go very far? But when it's come to this larger stimulus check, the 1,200 and 1,400 that have been singing previously from the first stimulus check package and the third stimulus check package, those are the big ones. right? Those are the ones issued by the federal government. There's the ones who have the bank road and send out bigger payments like that. Or even though some states are step up, the problem with this is they don't reach everybody that needs them. And a lot of times it's tied to something else like a back to work bonus, or if you fit a tax return, or in some instances they even say people who receive the monthly benefits like Social Security, SSDI, SSIVA maybe not even be eligible. Well, again, it's not fair, right? As we all know, fixed income beneficiaries are the ones who are being crushed or hurt the most as a result of this inflation, everything going on. If anything, these are the people who should be getting the stimulus check over anybody else, right? Fixed income and low income should be getting the checks handed down above and beyond anybody else. So anyway, with the being said, I just want to quickly run through the key takeaways. But with that being said, I will read this article to you, and again, please pay attention. Number 2 is that the one where they specifically talk about the Social Security beneficiary and why it's so important to get the next stimulus check. Now remember, all this point in entire article is talking about the push for more stimulus check and why it is so important. They lay out 3 reasons. I could come up with probably 25 different reasons of why a stimulus check is so badly needed right now, but this article just lay out 3. Either way, I'm going to let you go. Stimulus update the push for a stimulus check as the president focuses on the infrastructure flight. Democratic lawmakers continue to call for additional stimulus payments. Here are 3 reasons why it makes sense. Number 1, unemployment. Is the unemployment rate lower than it was this time last year? Absolutely, but there are still nearly 7 million Americans out of work. Unless you're attempting to believe those folks aren't looking for a job, or they collect so much through boosting unemployment benefits that they no longer need a job. And here there's a altering fact. By February of 2021, only 30% of the people without jobs receiving unemployment. That leaves 70% who either didn't know they are eligible or fell through the unemployment cracked without benefits, who were 70%, according to Elizabeth Forsyth of the labor economist at the University of Illinois. The reason so many people never received unemployment is not entirely clear. Some who are eligible did not realize they could apply, some wrongly believe they were ineligible. So for example, temporarily furloughed person may not have known they were eligible for unemployment assistance. There some were not eligible even though they have no chance to landing a job, and they included recent college graduates and people just entering the labor market. There are also millions of people in the US who have no internet connection, and with record the number of the call to the state unemployment agencies, many likely gave up trying to get through. Those who missed out unemployment benefits may be prime the candidates for additional direct stimulus funds. Number 2, senior citizens stimulus check were born of the senior citizens. Overwhelmingly, these retirees could not file for unemployment benefits and don't benefit from advanced child tax credit checks. While 2022 Social Security beneficiaries will receive 5.9% of cost of living adjustment. Medicare Part B premium is set to increase by 21.60 per month in the 2022. Medicare Part B covers outpatient services like doctor appointments, lab tests, Here, how it all stacked out, no matter how you slice it, according to ARP, an estimated average Social Security retirement benefit is $1,543 a month. Adding the color and the average is bumped up to $91 to $34. Subtract the Medicare Part P increase to $21.60, and the average is come back down to $1,612.40. No matter how you select it, senior citizens depend on Social Security checks to live, may be primary candidates for additional stimulus funds. The number of Delta variant COVID cases on the rise in many states and inflation pushing up the price of consumer goods on senior citizen lead. The number of Delta variant COVID cases on the rise in many states and inflation pushing up the price of the consumer goods and the senior citizens lead. And non-partisan advocacy group is calling in Congress to send one-time 1,400 Social Security stimulus payments to seniors. And number 3, some states have stepped up. As of far, another federal stimulus check began to fade. Some states step in with their own targeted stimulus funds. For example, California sent 600 checks to taxpayers earning between $30,000 to $75,000 annually. Florida promised $1,000 checks to educators and frontline workers. Maryland provided families with the 500 stimulus check, and Michigan rewarded teachers with up to $3,000 by hazard pay. However, most states have not done more there for their citizens, and or Republicans list they could posted unemployment benefits before they were scheduled to end. That leaves a huge swath of Americans living hand to mouth, and leading clip the study found this summer. The majority of use that U.S. consumer live paycheck to paycheck. The rising cost of living coupled with the years as nearly stagnant with growth has left 54% of the consumers with just enough to get by. The study found that 21 of us adults have little or no money left in the bank account after paying bills. Americans barely get by, maybe prime candidates for additional stimulus funds. Whether or not Congress will agree to more stimulus funds, it's clear there are millions in need. If you could allow lawmakers to consider another round of stimulus checks, you can let your thoughts be known by connecting elected representatives from your area.